It was supposed to be a lighthearted reunion. Just another night on late-night television, filled with banter, laughter, and celebrity charm. But when legendary actress Diane Keaton appeared on Jimmy Kimmel Live, what unfolded became one of the most unforgettable moments in TV history. The headlines would later scream, "Diane Keaton storms off set after explosive clash with Jimmy Kimmel, and the truth behind what really happened will surprise you." Act 1, a night that started like any other. The night began with anticipation. Diane Keaton, Hollywood royalty, was scheduled to appear and promote her latest film, a heartfelt drama about second chances and rediscovering love in later years. She had always been known for her grace, wit, and iconic fashion sense. Her fans couldn't wait. As the cameras rolled, Kimmel welcomed Diane with the usual fanfare. The audience applauded wildly. She walked out in her signature blazer, leather gloves, and oversized glasses, carrying herself like the icon she is. Their first few minutes together were warm, full of jokes and nostalgia. They reminisced about her early days in Hollywood, her unforgettable role in Annie Hall, and her unique wardrobe that had once shocked red carpets. But beneath the surface, tension was quietly brewing. Act 2, the shift in tone. Midway through the interview, Kimmel pivoted the conversation with a smirk. "So Diane," he said, "I heard you recently turned down a big role because you didn't want to work past 7 p.m. Is that true, or is your bedtime just getting earlier?" The audience chuckled, but Keaton's expression tightened. It wasn't the joke that stung, it was the implication. With a subtle but unmistakable edge in her voice, Diane replied, "Jimmy, you ever think maybe women get tired of being mocked for aging?" Kimmel chuckled awkwardly. "Oh come on, Diane. You look incredible. I mean, if I look half that good at your age, I'd never wear sleeves either." That was the turning point. The crowd laughed nervously. Some clapped. But the energy had shifted. Diane leaned forward slightly, her voice calm, controlled, but firm. "You know, I came on here tonight because I thought we'd talk about the film. About the work. About life. Not about my bedtime or my body. You've made your jokes, good for you, but I'm not here to play the fool for late-night ratings." Act 3, the dignified takedown. The studio fell quiet. Kimmel, visibly caught off guard, tried to lighten the mood. Okay, tough crowd. Let's talk about the movie." But Diane wasn't backing down. She looked him dead in the eyes. "No, let's talk about respect. About how you can sit behind that desk night after night and tear people down under the guise of comedy. You think you're being clever, but sometimes, Jimmy, you're just being cruel." The audience gasped. "I've spent over 5 decades in this industry," she continued. "I've earned every line on my face, every silver strand in my hair. And I won't sit here while you turn that into a punchline." Kimmel opened his mouth to respond, but Diane had already stood up. Grabbing her bag, she turned to the camera and said, "To every woman watching, know your worth. You don't owe anyone your dignity for a laugh." And with that, she walked off set. The words, "FCKU, Jimmy," were never uttered on air, but backstage sources confirm they were heard loud and clear before she disappeared through the studio doors. Act 4, the internet reacts. Within minutes, the internet exploded. #TeamDiane trended worldwide. Celebrities and fans alike flooded social media with support. Reese Witherspoon tweeted, "Diane Keaton is a queen. That was courage, class, and truth all in one moment." Meryl Streep posted a quote from the moment on Instagram. "Know your worth. Diane, thank you for reminding us." Others turned the moment into memes and motivational graphics. Clips of the takedown went viral, racking up millions of views within hours. For many, it was a watershed moment. This wasn't just about one awkward interview. This was about the way aging women are treated in media, about dignity over spectacle, about truth in a world obsessed with entertainment. Act 5, Jimmy's apology or lack thereof. The following night, Jimmy Kimmel addressed the incident. His tone was subdued, but not quite apologetic. "We had a spirited moment with the incredible Diane Keaton last night," he began. "Things got a little intense, and I may have said something that upset her. That wasn't my intention." He never directly apologized. He didn't replay the clip. Instead, he made a few self-deprecating jokes and moved on. But the audience didn't forget. Nor did Diane's supporters. In the days that followed, numerous op-eds were written about the moment. The New York Times called it the most important 3 minutes on late night in years. The Washington Post wrote, Diane Keaton walked off a set, and into history. ACT 6, Diane speaks out. 3 days later, Diane Keaton broke her silence. She appeared on a podcast with journalist Maria Shriver and addressed the incident with grace. I didn't plan to walk off, she said. But in that moment, I realized I had to choose between being polite and being honest. She spoke candidly about the pressures of being a woman in Hollywood, especially one past 70. They either make fun of you or pretend you don't exist, she said. And I'm done pretending. I've worked too hard, lived too much, to smile through disrespect. Her words struck a chord far beyond Hollywood. ACT 7, a cultural reckoning. Suddenly, conversations about ageism, sexism, and the tone of late-night television dominated media discourse. Shows like The View and Good Morning America hosted panels discussing Diane's stand. Late-night hosts were forced to reflect. Stephen Colbert mentioned it delicately. Seth Meyers praised Keaton without naming Kimmel directly. Even Saturday Night Live aired a sketch parodying the moment, though, notably, with more empathy toward Diane's perspective. Some fans called for Kimmel's cancellation. Others defended him, calling it an overreaction. But one thing was certain, Diane Keaton had started a conversation. ACT 8, a legacy reinforced. In the months that followed, Diane's career saw a surprising boost. Her film topped streaming charts. She received new offers, roles that respected her intelligence and experience. She also announced a memoir, tentatively titled, Unapologetic, chronicling her journey in Hollywood, including that infamous night on Kimmel. And perhaps most importantly, she became a renewed symbol for women everywhere, especially those who felt ignored, mocked, or dismissed. Her takedown wasn't loud. It wasn't vulgar. It was calm, clear, and impossible to ignore. Outro. A moment that mattered. We live in a time where television moments come and go. But every once in a while, something cuts through the noise. Something real. Diane Keaton didn't just walk off a set that night. She walked into a conversation the world needed to have. She showed us that strength isn't always loud. Sometimes, it's quiet. Sometimes, it wears a plaid blazer, picks up a handbag, and says,